Flame photometry is nothing but it is one of the branch of spectroscopy that is used to determine the low concentration of some of the minerals such as calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium in any unknown solution, or we can say working principle behind the flame photometer. So flame photometry is basically works on the basis of the emitted light radiations when a metal is introduced into the flame. So in this, the color of the wavelength will give information about the element, and the concentration, what you can call as color of the flame. Two things are important here. One is wavelength and one is the color of flame. The wavelength color is going to give us information about the type of element which is present, like you can say sodium, magnesium, and the color of flame gives information about the what type of element along with its concentration. That's why we will call this instrument. Let us understand this principle in somewhat more detail so that you can understand it better. So all of you know alkali and alkaline earth metals, or these compounds are also called as group 2 elements. So what these are going to do is, when these elements are introduced into the flame, they will dissociate into different atoms. Those atoms are like when you can say when already flame acts as a energy source. So that energy, when it absorbs, initially it will be there at ground state. When it will absorb the energy, then it will jump into higher state. Further increase in the energy, or we can say continuously we are heating, is that will even reach at the higher stage. So when they are coming back to the ground state, they will emit radiation in a particular wavelength. So when these are returning back to the ground state, as I already said, they will emit particular radiations at particular wavelength. When they are radiating the different wavelengths, these wavelengths lies particularly in the visible region of the spectrum that you all of you know. It may ranges from 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. So within this nanometer, our human eyes can see it and you can calculate it. For example, you take the element sodium that will emit a particular radiations at 589 nanometer, and you can see the color of flame is yellow color. So what it means is, when we are finding the yellow color means we can find out the presence of element is sodium. Similarly potassium, so it will emit radiation at 760 nanometer, which gives violet color flame. So similarly calcium, barium and so on. So at that particular wavelength it is going to produce particular color of flame. So that's why they have named this instrument as flame photometry, or there are many other names called flame emission photometry or flame emission spectroscopy. So we all understood the principle. Now we will understand what and all the important components which is made up of this flame photometry. So coming to the components, the first one being source of flame, then next comes nebulizer, then next comes optical system, followed by this color filters, then last one is photodetectors. So let us understand these components one by one in detail so that you can understand it better. So first one is source of flame. As you already know, we are discussing about the flame photometer. Means what is the source of flame, means from which source we are using as a flame plays very important role, or you can say it is the heart of the flame photometer. So there are different combinations, or you can say fuel and oxidant combinations that can commonly used to maintain the higher temperature. Why higher temperature means, as in the principle I have already said you, we need higher temperature to dissociate that metal atoms into metal ions. So in that sense we need to dissociate that metal ions, means we should have the higher temperature to be maintained. So in that sense, first one is like you can say, so in that sense some of the examples which are commonly used as fuel oxidant mixture as a source of ignition to get the required temperatures as of the need. So coming to that first one, air oxygen mixture. So that air oxygen mixture is commonly used to get the temperatures around 1700 degrees Celsius. So for example, if any element we are required in the need of 1700 degrees Celsius to be heated, then we can commonly go for that. Then next comes hydrogen and air mixture. So if we are using hydrogen and air mixture, we can get the temperature around 2200 degrees Celsius, or approximately nearby that value we will get it. So if we are requiring more temperature than this, or you can say higher temperature than this, means we can go with acetylene and oxygen mixture. This is one of the strongest, you can say, or this is the highest temperature we can achieve by using acetylene and oxygen. So by using this mixture, we will achieve approximately around 4800 degrees Celsius, which is approximately equal to 5000 degrees Celsius. So this is about the source of flame, as I already said, which plays very important role. And the next comes nebulizer. So what this nebulizer is going to do means, it will send you the homogeneous solution into the instrument, or you can say it will maintain the constant flow rate. What and all the solutions which are going to use to measure, that will send in a homogeneous way. Then next comes optical filters, optical system, sorry. So optical system, what it is going to do means, it basically consists of two different things. One is convex lens and another one is convex mirror. So what does this convex lens and convex mirror plays an important role in this flame photometer means, they will what and all the emitted radiations from the flame photometer, they will send those radiations through this convex lens. As you already know the function of this convex lens, they will focus the light emitted by that into a single slit. So after this optical system, the next component is simple color filters. So what does this simple color filters do means, as the name itself says, filters means here the instrument contains some of the filters. For example, which minerals we need to detect, those filters are already pre-installed in that system. For example, say calcium filter, magnesium filter, potassium, sodium, and so on. So what it will do is, when we are emitted radiations are coming from the optical system, they will focus us all those through a single slit into the source of light, filters. So what it will do, the absorbed light, it will acts as a basic source of separation. So in finally what we want to know from this instrument, we need to know the separate mineral concentration, how much it is. So basically it will do the process of separation. In simple ways we can say separation, because different filters are there, they will particular wavelength, when it will reach, the different filters will absorb the different color and it will gives you the different processes. So this different filters is going to give different wavelengths to be selected from the mixture. Next comes, and the last part, which is called as detectors. So what these detectors are going to do means, what and all the emitted radiations from the filters, they will come to the detectors. These detectors' main function is to convert the emitted radiations into electrical signals, or you can say any convertible signal, any convertible form of source that we can read through the digital indicator. So main function is to convert the indicator, or you can say digital indicator. So what and all the important components of the flame photometer we have understood. Now let us dive into the processes, what and all the processes which are involved to get the final results. So coming to these processes, the first one is dissolution, then second one is vaporization, followed by atomization, then excitation, then last comes the emission. These all processes in the instrument itself, they will togetherly they will happen. In the final results, we will read it out, particular concentration element. So what these processes in detail we will know. First one is dissolution. As we already know, what and all the unknown solutions which are there with us, for example, say unknown concentration is there, we don't know what type of elements are present in that. So what we are going to do is, we are going to dissolve that in a solution form. So the process of mixing of the unknown sample in the water, or you can say distilled water as a source of medium. So this process is known as dissolution. So in this process, what will happen? After mixing, this is called as, like we can say, for maintaining different concentration solutions, that is allowed to for heating process. Then next comes vaporization. So in that name itself says vaporization, means we are going to evaporate that sample, so that what and all the molecules which are there, they should dissociate into atoms. these dissociated atoms, or you can say dehydrated atoms, further we will evaporate it. So this process of evaporation is known as vaporization. Then next comes atomization. So what do you mean by atomization? So atomization is nothing but particular concentration, or you can say particular rate, those prepared solutions, or you can say dehydrated solutions or vaporized solutions, they are going to send into the instrument, or you can say flame photometer. So after this process we can go with the next process. Here comes the important thing which plays in the flame photometer. What we are going to do is we will heat the sample. As in the earlier when I am explaining about the principle, I said we will heat the sample to a higher temperature. So when we are heating the sample at higher temperature means the molecules which are there in that solution will dissociate. So that dissociation will leads to, means the molecules will absorb the energy that you call heat energy, because we are heating that sample. Because of heating, it will jump to the higher level. When we are understanding it in the level of molecules, metals and ions, means they will jump into higher and higher level. So the process of jumping of molecules from ground state to excited state, when it is further absorbed the energy, means further higher state. So this is called as excitation. So after excitation, the last one is emission. As I already said, when the molecules are at a higher state, they are not stable, or you can say they are highly unstable. What they will do, the unstable molecules, they will not keep stable for longer period of time in the higher levels. So what they will do, they will try to come back to the stable state, or you can say ground state. So during coming back to the ground state, they will radiate, or they will emit particular radiations. That one only we are going to measure in the flame photometer. As I already said, the process of radiation or emission of higher level to ground state, as I already said, the metal will come back to ground state to get stabilized, and this process is known as emission. So once it is reaching the ground state, then how much radiations it has been emitted, that will send to the photo detector for sensing. So that detector is going to detect the emitted radiations and convert it into electrical signals. So the overall process of flame photometer you can see in this diagram. Now let us see some of the important applications of this flame photometer in food and dairy industry. So coming to the application, the first one is like you can take the example of milk itself. We all know milk is rich in calcium. So how we will come to know that milk is rich in calcium means through the analysis. So flame photometer is one such direct instrument we can find out the concentration of calcium. So similarly we can detect other minor minerals also, like you can say potassium, then magnesium, then selenium and so on. So complete mineral profile in any food and any dairy milk. So those all things we can find out by using the flame photometer. Coming to other things, you can see we can find out the mineral composition in feed and forage. So animals, what and all the animals we are giving feed to animals. So what and all the composition of that feed mixture also we can determine by using this instrument. So then next coming to the other food industry, other food components. For example, you say in today's world we are discussing with many food products that are directly or indirectly related to this minerals, and even RDA has specified some of these minerals which plays very important role. Even though it is a minor and trace mineral, that plays very important role in our day-to-day life. So in that case, the RDA has specified some of the minerals. How we will come to know these many minerals are exactly present in there or not? Again, the same thing, this instrument is going to give you qualitative as well as quantitative analysis of those mineral profiles. Thank you all.